Kia ora and welcome to Constellations and All That. I'm your host, Tracy Cartwright, and together we will be exploring the world of family constellations with facilitators and clients from around the world, looking at different perspectives and experiences in the work, having a cup of tea and just chatting with some friends around their experiences in constellations. We'd love for you to join us. I hope that you enjoy this series as much as I have loved making it. Kia ora everyone, welcome to Constellations and All That. Today, this is the first time I've done this, actually having two people on the same conversation. So there's three of us. I could have said something inappropriate then, but I didn't. So welcome Jo and John.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
I'd love for you to both to introduce yourselves and a little bit about you, where you're from, what you do.
You first, Marianne.
Okay, so I'm Jo Amrein-Palairet. I was born in Taupua. My ancestors came out to Aotearoa in the early 1900s. I have two siblings. We, at the present moment, live in Tauranga in the Lower Kaimais. I moved up to Mount Maunganui when I was 11 and rode horses and had the best life up here. And I have three children. I have a baby in spirit, and I have Emily, who is 23, and Ben, who's 33, and this is John, my husband.
Hi, I'm John Palairet. I was born and raised near where we live now. I've sort of always lived about an hour from here, so this is very much home for me. My ancestors came from England, Ireland, Scotland, and from Aotearoa, New Zealand as well. So yeah, I have connections all over the world. I have not visited my ancestors' homes on the other side of the world. Actually, sorry, I have ancestors in France as well, and we did visit that area one time, but as for England, I haven't been, so something yet to come.
Beautiful. And so for those who don't know, who are listening to this, and maybe you're on the other side of the world, where Jo and John are located is on the east coast of the North Island, in the most amazing place of part of the Bay of Plenty, where there's lots of great surf, lots of sunshine, and really cool people, to be honest. Yeah, it's a great place to hang out, especially when I was a teenager. I used to love going there. It's one of those places.
It is a very beautiful place. It's very relaxed, has a relaxed feel about it. I often think that living here is like winning the lottery. You know, of all the places you could live in the world, I think this has got to be one of the best. So yeah, we feel very lucky.
Cool. It's very cool. And you guys are kind of up, and before we started recording, I said you were up in the clouds, and you said, yeah, pretty much today. So you've got some clouds in the sky that are hanging around.
Yeah. We look down the valley to the ocean, and we can see the sort of the rain coming up the valley. There's showers down there by the looks of it at the moment. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Amazing, thank you. So I know quite a bit about you both, but for those who don't know, and you can decide who goes first, share with me a little bit about how you got into constellations. What brought you? When did you meet it?
So I found constellation work about 5 years ago. No, it was more than that, actually. Probably 7 years ago. But I was soul searching, and I was delving into lots of different modalities, and then would back out of them pretty quick. Like, no, that's not for me. I ended up doing Reiki training and yin yoga for my own personal healing. And then I found family constellation work, and I couldn't believe it. I went and sat in a circle, and it was like changed my life completely from one constellation, and I became super addicted to it. And I'm just like, okay, I can't wait for the next one. When's the next one? And what I discovered that there were, for me in this work, it was like, oh my God, there's things out there that it's way bigger than me. And I was able to kind of like the onion layer. I was just sort of like, that's not even mine, but giving it a beautiful place behind me and honoring where I'd come from. And so that's how I found the work. And I'm a school teacher by trade, and I worked with special ed for many years. And I actually left the classroom and trained in this work and was like, we need this here. So yeah, that's how I found it. And I've never looked back.
So for me, Tracy, I found the work. Jo introduced me to the work. Basically, she might have been going to Constellations for maybe a year or something along those lines, and then said, "Look, there's one locally. Why don't you come along and have a look?" And so I actually went to a few of those, but it took me a long time even to get up as a representative. I sat back. I was just fascinated in the way things were unfolding, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a part of it yet. I was sort of just waiting, and then one day I got dragged into it and felt into, as somebody's ancestor, and it was just magical. I thought, wow, why did I wait so long? So that was my introduction. I then went on to do some training as well, and I'd like to spend much more time doing this. I have a day job. I'm a carpenter during the week, and that takes a lot of my focus, a lot of my time and energy. So eventually, I'm sort of working on a transition at the moment, sort of trying to spend more time in the world of constellating, and a little less time being a carpenter. So yeah, it's nice.
What have been some of the changes, or maybe the changes that you've noticed in yourself that you may feel comfortable in sharing? Yeah, have you noticed any big shifts?
I think, well, I think for me, we have a daughter who has a disability, and so we've really advocated really strongly for her. And a lot of my decisions were made around my intuition. And even though I was really stuck in a world of this is how we do it, when it came to our daughter, I really just knew, and I'd never question it. And so then for me, it was, Emily, I remember, I won't say her name, but our daughter, she said to me, she was about 14 or 15, and she said to me, I just need you to back off and let me live my life, because it was really about keeping her alive.
Yeah.
And then I had to kind of go, okay. And so I had to start looking at myself, and that was super scary. And so when I found this modality, I remember I didn't realize I had so much grief. I lost my mum when I was 14, and I didn't realize I was so angry with her, and I was holding it really deep in my bones. Like it was something that I didn't even realize until I had to start looking at me. And this work, I was able to make peace with that, and actually my mum's, I was able to just give her so much love, and instead of so much anger that I didn't even know I was holding. We're talking like 25, 30 years later, I didn't realize there was so much grief in there for me. And so yeah, it was really profound for me being able to, someone represented my mum, and I was able to gently but fiercely let her tell her how it was for me, and then being able to realize that I wasn't alone, and she was there with me, and I was blocking her to walk with me, and just being able to stand in front of her, when you go into that field of the constellation, and having my mum stand behind me, a representative of my mum, was really life-changing. And from that day on, she's just totally walked with me, instead of me constantly banging a wall around my mum, which I didn't even know it, didn't even realize it until I had to really start looking at myself.
Yeah. When we're not allowing that flow, that flow of love, life can be a bit tricky.
Yeah. Yeah.
We create all sorts of situations and scenarios for ourselves.
Yeah, totally. I thought I'd grieved for her, I thought, but then I became a mum really young as well. And I just put all my energy and life into that. And then having a child with a disability, I just put all my life and energy into that. And then being told to back off, mum, I had to start looking. And yeah, so I am so grateful for this modality and this work, because I was in a really dark place. Yeah. And just weaving through it. Yeah. So it was, so that's probably was really profound for me, when I got to really look at my mum and be with my mum.
Beautiful. What about you, John?
I think for me, the things that I've noticed, or the changes I've noticed, have been the subtleties, and it's not always about me too. I notice shifts in others. My system, my family system. Just little things that sort of are connecting or resonating, or just the little shifts. The beautiful little shifts. I find I'm now a much more accepting human being, I think, of just what is. It's, yeah. I'd like to say without judgment. It sounds, but it really it's what it feels like. It's just I can just really accept things for what they are. Not that things, bad things have to stay the way they are, but I can see things for what they are, perhaps in a different way now, which has been really freeing.
Do you think that this work allows you to, not sweat the small stuff, but see, as you said, seeing things in a different way?
Mm.
Yeah.
I guess there's just you're seeing in so many different perspectives. Well, it gives you that ability, to look at problems from so many different angles, or so many different lifetimes. The problem's not just often not about our lifetime at all. It's can be multiple lifetimes back in our system, or it's fascinating.
I think there's something really interesting for us. When my ancestors came, well, actually, I'll start it with when we had Emily. Was the first thing they said to us, were we related? And it was like, no, not that we're aware of. But then when we started doing this work and having an understanding of what kind of sits behind us, and this is genetics really, and it was kind of, we don't know for a fact, but my ancestors could have attacked John's ancestors, and there could have been, they might not have attacked, but they might have got married, or who knows, we're going back over 100 years ago. But when all those things happened back in those days, so many generations later, we have a child with this super rare condition, only one in the world. And and the first thing is, are you guys related? And so by doing this work, it's helped us understand that maybe there was a trauma that happened back in, with our ancestors, who knows, but we've been able to give it a place really, and acknowledge it. And so it's,
Just for clarification, we're not related.
we're not related, no.
Disclaimer at the bottom: we are not related.
Thank you, Tracy.
Whoever wants to answer this one first. How would you describe family constellations when you've gone to a barbie or you're at the cafe and you meet someone for the first time? How would you describe constellations?
Do you want me to explain that first?
It's always very tricky.
It is a tricky one, and I think, and maybe it shouldn't be this way, but I think it depends who's asking the question too.
Absolutely.
Because I consider it energy work of a sort. So perhaps if that person is not tuned into energy work, then it'll be more a therapy, a type of therapy, which I guess it is. And I'll explain it on one level. It's about recognizing patterns and recognizing traumas that you're noticing in your life or your family system, and we just find those, search those out and give them a place in our system. Acknowledge or give them a place in our system. Some people may ask that question, and I would come at it from a slightly different angle, and it's about, I would talk about a connectedness on an energetic level. And similar, but just with an energetic twist on it, I guess. That's how.
Have you ever been asked by any of your chippy buddies or your sparky buddies, so what are you doing this weekend, John? And you've said, I'm going to a family constellation workshop, and they go, what?
Yeah, they do. They do say that. Yeah. I say, why don't you come along?
Yeah.
That's what constellating is like, though, isn't it? It really is. It's not coming from the mind. It's really tapping into what's around you, what needs to be said, what needs to be shown. Any movements that need to be made. They're not a conscious. That's what I find anyway. They're not a conscious effort.
So beautiful.
They just appear.
And what about you, Jo?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because I always say, the best thing is to come along and have a look. But then I'll say, well, it's funny, I try not to get into too much story about it. And I'm just like, just imagine if something that's happening for you in your life today is way bigger than you, when you come and sit in this work, you get to acknowledge it, give it a place, becomes a beautiful resource, and then you feel so much lighter, and it's completely freeing. So I keep it really simple, and I think, and people come because of just keeping it nice and simple. But and then they, I think for me, they just trust. Okay, well, we'll just trust what she said, you know. And we've got a retreat coming up soon, and there's a few women that are coming that have never done anything for themselves, you know. And
Yeah.
so I always say, just come, and you can just sit back and relax, and there'll be something in that for you, you know. You
And trust the field is pulling you in there. Your ancestors are giving you a nudge.
totally.
That's
So
interesting because I've got a retreat coming up soon too, and there's a huge chunk of people that are coming that have never done any constellation work. So there's something happening. There are shiftings in the world. People are starting to get curious and following that.
people are ready. I think, you know, talk therapy is amazing, and there's so many incredible modalities out there. But this one, it just it really brings light to it, and understanding, and acknowledgement, and freedom.
And quite quickly too.
Really,
I think that for me, that's the real difference. I think with constellation therapy is that the magic happens so quickly. You know, these things just unfold effortlessly.
And you don't even need to get up on the field. You don't even need to represent. You can just sit back and just be open. And I get it all the time. It's like, that was my family system that I just witnessed. And, you know, there was something, it blows people away. Yeah.
It
So,
does, doesn't it?
so sort of answering that question, I try and keep it really simple. Come and have a look.
Now you both are doing something. You've got your niche. Would that be the word? You're doing something different to other facilitators as far as you're quite focused on relationships.
We live it. We're the living proof of a really beautiful, functional relationship. And I think, and we haven't had it easy. We've been together 29 years, married 21. It hasn't been easy, but we've navigated it so beautifully together. And I think, so because we've had that experience together, it's like relationships don't have to be hard. You know, we're like our worst enemies in relationships, and we punish ourselves and each other for no reason. So so that is something we do offer, and I'm super passionate about it, because we're kind of we're living proof of it, but also it's for the next generations, and it's for our children, because if we can get it right for our children, that's going to be life-changing for the world, if we can really. So I have personally a real passion for relationships and our future generation, our children, because if we can get it right as mum and dad, you know, our kids are going to be good, and we're living proof of that. Our children are really good, you know, and we've got a daughter that's got so many hurdles. Her life isn't easy, but she is really good, and she belongs, and she knows her mum and dad have got her back.
Absolutely.
As far as relationship goes, it's kind of fun. We kind of sort of work together in that, especially in our retreats, and we actually feel like we're on retreat together, don't we?
Right.
And so we have a really nice time.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So tell us a little bit more about you've got this retreat coming up in somewhere, is it South Auckland or?
Muriwai.
West on the coast at Muriwai.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's at Kula, which is a beautiful building. Opens out to the view of the ocean. It's a stunning location. Beautiful space.
Yeah, this is our third one. John was like, "Is this our second retreat?" And I'm like, "No, this is our third." So we attract couples, we attract just parents, single parents, you know, and even, you know, navigating, you know, separated parents, like that in itself. The children carry so much. So if we can get it right, even if one parent comes and they can set a beautiful example of how we're going to show up as parents navigating in different homes, you know. So yeah, we have all sorts of people.
Yeah, and saying that too, showing up when you're talking about single parents, you know, like showing up and being able to see the other person if they were to do some work, or maybe that drops in or not, around seeing the other person and the system that they come from. You know, it makes you start thinking about those sort of things, doesn't it? I think about where I would be or what would be different in my life if I had found this work earlier. Obviously, wasn't meant to
I
be.
know. I always, because we do tend to attract people in their, you know, their 20s and 30s. So kind of the younger generations. Not always. We have a beautiful mix. But I'm just like, man, you know, to be in our 20s or even our early 30s, finding this work. Yeah.
But I guess that, you know, somebody has to lead this. You know, somebody has to show the way, and we are here at the right time doing it.
Absolutely.
The retreats are just such a beautiful way, you know, because typically we'll go to a constellation or a workshop or something for the day, you know, a number of hours, and it's a beautiful experience, and then we all leave. But to come back, you know, or to do a longer day and then come back for a second day in the field it sort of cements everybody together as a group, just in such a beautiful way. We connect, and it's not that we become lifelong friends after that, but there's just a beautiful level of sharing and appreciation, and just an amazing feeling of generosity. All these beautiful things that come out of it, and it feels like, you know, like we'll have a shared meal after the, you know, after the day's work and what have you, or even at lunch, and everybody's just chatting and friendly, and it's almost like they're supporting each other, you know, with whatever's happening in their lives. It's fascinating to watch, isn't it? It's what you asked the question before about me. You know, I'm a carpenter, and do my builder mates come along to any constellations or any workshops? I wish they would. You know, and it is offered, I think, but when people do show up, even people that haven't been before, they do show up for a workshop in a couple of days, and they leave looking like different people. Is what I see anyway.
Absolutely,
Yeah. It's the shift is phenomenal.
Yeah, and there's more and more, I think, well, there's more and more men starting to come to the work as well. Slowly, in most modalities, you'll find the majority, 80%, 80, maybe 90% of it is women. But I'm noticing in the last 18 months, more men are showing up to different things that I'm attending, which is great. Because I think people are just tired of the same old, and it's not working, right? COVID opened the doors to so many things for people to go, actually, I don't want my life to be the same. I want to do things differently. And then when the world opened up, people just kind of went, reset back into automatic. Some, not all, but some. So, and there are still some that are finding their way back in, and maybe they'll open the doors for others to find their way too. But
as a male, like, I'm very much an apprentice in this work. You know, it feels very new to me. The way Jo and I work together, I like to be in a support sort of a role, and she's in the thick of it, doing the work and the getting the technical aspects right, and you know, finding the shifts that need to happen, and I find myself often on the periphery looking for, again, the subtleties, you know, and trying to feel into the specific energy of this issue within a system. I've actually been trying to, I keep doing it in different books, so I lose it, but I've been trying to catalog the different feelings of these traumas that all our systems seem to hold somewhere, or virtually everybody's system seems to have very similar issues. You know, subtleties, of course, you know, differently, but within systems. So feeling into those is quite amazing. I'm very interested in trying to find a little bit of new ground where perhaps we could move things even quicker, and perhaps for more people at once, kind of thing. So,
and you've been doing some one-on-ones though, haven't you, John?
Yeah, very new at it, at one-on-ones. Yeah, so I really am trying to find my way in all of this as a male. So I would like to open it up for more males to join in. The women should only have to do so much of the work. You know, the men need to turn up and do work as well, I believe. So I'm in the work observing right now, thinking, just quietly planning, figuring out how to bring more males in, and everybody benefits really.
I think leading by example and the both of you working together is such a beautiful blend as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Jo, I know you went back, you did a counselling degree last year. You had so much going on. And in the middle of all of that, you did a counselling degree.
I did.
Yeah.
I did my postgrad in counselling and guidance, and it was really spontaneous. I was kind of, I think for me, now that I think about it and having that experience, completing it, I really got to feel the culture of Aotearoa and the land that we're on. And as much as, I'm a Pākehā woman walking on this land, I've always respected it, and I've always respected who has come before me, and the people of the land. And I think what it did for me was it really gave me a beautiful understanding of the culture here. And I really love, the family systems. I mean, all parts of that degree for me, some of it was quite boring, but I really loved the family system part of it. And I used that a lot. And I actually weaved in a lot of my assignments family constellation therapy, and then having just my knowledge becoming more appreciative, of the culture here, the Māori culture and the land, and help me understand it more. And I think doing this work is such an honour, and especially here in Aotearoa, it just helped me. It just cemented it for me.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It was big. It was a challenge, and it was big. I got my teacher's degree years ago, and then I'll go do a postgrad. That's easy. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? But it was beautiful parts of it, and the highlight for me was the culture and the people of this land.
Are you still running workshops at your place, or because I know you've been doing some down in Papamoa?
Yeah, I do. I don't run them up here anymore. I do run. John and I, we run them. I mean, I lead them. John and I run them together down in Papamoa, at a little venue down there. Yeah, and it's great. It's interesting. You have like a little community. I don't know if you find that, and you have your little community, and everybody turns up, and then there'll be new people that come. And we've actually got a workshop on Sunday, and we've got quite a handful of men coming, which is amazing. I don't know who they are. John being one of them, I know him.
Interesting. I had a question then, and it's just popped right out of my head. Where did it go? Question, where did you go? Who's your favourite constellator? Who's your favourite facilitator? Do you have any that you admire from afar, or?
I'm actually doing some training at the moment for a year, with a facilitator from New York, Lisa Muir, and I've done a lot of work with her off and on over the years. I love her work, and I love how she facilitates, and I would love to be in person with her one day.
Is it all online? There's no in-person?
Yeah, she does in person, but it's in New York. So, she runs workshops and all sorts of stuff over there. But mine would have, I think Lisa's definitely, but I think locally, if I think down here in Aotearoa and Australia, it would have to be Susan. Yeah, I think, but there's also Maria. I don't even know if I can choose. That is a really tough question.
Yeah.
There's so many incredible facilitators out there, but I think Maria and Susan are probably my two. I've learned so much from them, and I've had, been in person with them. Has been, I think, because then you kind of get that really beautiful connection. And I've done Susan's. John and I did it together. We did her training last year. Yeah, so I think, yeah. What about you?
Yeah, those two as well. But I think it's almost every time I go, witness a constellation, I'm in awe of whoever the facilitator is at the time. I think just watching the unfolding. Yeah. So I'm often in awe of whoever it is.
That is so true. We were in Taupo, and we were two facilitators that trained under you, Tracy, and we got to witness them doing the work, facilitating. And they were incredible, like just the learning that you learn, and the gentleness and just everything. So you're right. I think anytime you get to sit in the field of this work, it's magic, whoever it might be.
Great answers, guys. And you are off to Mexico to present.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are off to Mexico to present. You're quite right.
With you.
Yep, we're both going to be doing that, or all three of us, but at different times.
Very exciting.
Yeah. We haven't really given it much thought. It's funny with life, hey, how it's just like okay, we've got to do this and get organized for this, but it's going to be such an honor to be over there and be in that field with all those. There's some incredible expertise that are going to be there. So we feel like the apprentice going over there. And
we're the little ones, eh? We're the little ones.
little.
We're going to get to mingle with some of the elders in the field and then bring our knowledge back to Aotearoa and share it with our community here. And yeah, that's going to be so cool.
And even how beautiful taking Aotearoa, taking a bit of the magic from here over there too, which is an honor for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we had Alexandra at your place making a drum up at the top of the Kaimais. Gosh, what was that, 18 months ago? Was that 18 months ago, maybe?
2 years ago,
April 24.
Yeah, 23.
Yeah. 4.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Feels like a bit longer ago.
It does. Almost a lifetime ago, really, eh?
Been a lot's happened in between that. Do you have any memorable experiences or constellations that you feel that you could share without divulging anyone's confidentiality, or something that you've witnessed that has really made you go, wow, this work is... I mean, I know that we experience a lot when we do this work, but sometimes there are some that really stand out.
I could talk about one for myself.
Yeah.
A personal one a piece of work that I did. I've always had this fear of water, contained water, specifically dams, water tanks, that sort of thing. I don't know where that comes from. I won't go into the specifics, but it turned out that perhaps there was my family came from a shipbuilding background, and then there may have been an incident back there, a drowning. It was really fascinating. There was 2 facets to this piece of work. One of them was this fear of water, and perhaps that drowning was around that. But then the gift of my woodworking skills appeared to come from this person. So there's this really within that piece of work there was an amazing acknowledgement, and so it was fascinating. But anyway, at the time, this piece of work came up because to get to my job every day, I was crossing a dam, driving across a dam.
Wow.
Every day, which over the years it's gotten much easier. 50 something now, and it's gotten much easier to do that. And so on Friday I crossed the dam as usual. My usual. Let's just hope we get across okay and nothing goes wrong. And then did a piece of work on Sunday around this fear of water, and on Monday morning crossing the dam, I imagined myself being able to just dive in and float through the gates and down this canal, which was my worst nightmare only the Friday before. Yeah. So for me that said it all. It was just it was virtually instant for me. So yeah, that's one that I often think of that just showed the work so clearly.
And we'd go biking because we do, there's lots of rides around here, and you sometimes will have to cross a dam on your bike, and I'd go and have a look over it, especially if the dam's been opened up, and John's just like, what are you doing? But now I think the last time we rode over a dam, he's like, there's nothing on me, and he came up really close. I'm like, whoa, you're nice and close. Yeah. So
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, fascinating, eh? I think for me, I was a witness, and there was a guy that came, and he never acknowledged his father line, but he was just really struggling, and it was the most simplest piece of work, but he was told to go home and research your father and find out more about. He knew his father was where he was from and all of that, but he only acknowledged his female line. And so I got to witness that, and it was beautiful. And he was like, okay, really reluctant, but okay. And, you know, and had like a kind of like a, okay, I need to do this if I want more balance in my life. And,
Yeah.
and then I went back to this constellation again, and he was there, and he'd done some research on his father, and his life just got so much easier. He says, I feel whole now, like being able to, you know. And so I think for me that has always stood out for me, the importance of acknowledging where we come from, you know, both lines, whether we know them or not. Yeah, so he was kind of the proof of the pudding for me. I was like, wow, because it was kind of a guy that was pretty, you know, he was pretty staunch about, no, my father's this and that, you know, and I don't want to, you know, he was really reluctant.
Yeah.
And then just the softness and the feeling of, oh wow, I feel completely different now. So yeah, so that was really cool to experience. And I was just a
And it's
witness.
a little bit like what you said earlier about you not allowing the love, the connection, the flow with mum, you know,
Totally.
it's absolutely, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
That balance of our masculine and our feminine sides.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it's interesting, and I think that's one of the magical things about this work is we get to look at it differently. Like, you know, you just don't, yeah, it's like, and even with my own clients, they're like, I never thought to even look at it that way, you know, and it's just a really simple conversation, and it's completely life-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so really, really
And
beautiful.
I was just thinking as you were talking about that gentleman, you know, I often see with prostate problems
Mm,
and things like that, that often it's because the men aren't connected to their fathers, or their fathers are disconnected to their fathers. You know, they might have some sort of relationship with their father, but there's a disconnection somewhere in the lineage, and there's nothing flowing to them. So
mm,
that's the importance of that, isn't it?
yeah, really, really, really a really beautiful way to look at it and acknowledge. It's so freeing.
So where do you see yourselves going with this, with your constellation work? What are your plans? Do you have any goals that you've set for this, or you're just flowing with the field?
A bit of both, actually. We are. You've actually raised a good point. We've scheduled, well, we've a couple of times now we've scheduled a goal setting meeting around where we want our work to go
Yeah, with
together.
family balance and what that looks like
Yeah.
as a couple. Yeah, moving forward.
I think at the moment, yeah, we haven't made any firm plans, but we have ideas. Yeah, we'd love to see it progress, and like Jo was saying earlier, really focusing on, or one of the focuses would be on younger generations, and yeah, helping, like we said, helping people earlier in life, giving them, you know, just such a
Yeah.
easier ride.
And in your younger days, from what I understand, John, you were quite a bit of an athlete.
Yeah, yep. Yes. It feels like another life away, really. It's an angle I'd like to explore too within constellating, actually. You know, peak performance.
Fantastic.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
different. So yeah, we've got so many little ideas. But I
Yeah.
was an athlete, but I think for me, I think I was talented. There was something about competition though, strangely, that I didn't sit that well with me. Yeah. So it was interesting. I
Sometimes our loyalty to our families' poverty, or our families who've lost everything, or you know, our mothers who couldn't go and do her dream of becoming a teacher because she has a stay-at-home mum, or those sort of things, they unconsciously keep us from living our full potential, don't they?
so many reasons. That's right. Yeah. For me, it would have been a lot of that. Also, we talked earlier about a connectedness, an energetic connectedness, and yeah, competition didn't really always fit in that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to ask about your animals. That's what the fields just asked me.
Oh, okay.
What do they want me to ask about the animals? About, do they play a part in your work?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've got 3 dogs and a cat. One dog is ours and the rest belong to our daughter, but
They all live with us.
they all live with us, and Emily's left home. It's interesting you say that. We do have one particular dog here that likes to be in it completely. If we shut the dogs away, if we do run a workshop here, we've got a safari tent, and if we do run something here, he'll complain and he's like, I need to be in this. But it's interesting you say this. When I was a little girl, I think I was, and I've just been writing about it, so it's fascinating. When I was about 10, I had an accident on my horse. And it was the first time, and I didn't know at the time, but it was it was the first time that I experienced grief. She didn't get put down, thank goodness. My parents supported to keep her alive, but she sprained her ligament, so she needed to be turned out. And luckily she didn't break it. And it was that first time for me, it's those little griefs that and it doesn't have to be a human, right? And so for me, the grief around that, and I feel it now, it's like a piece of work for me moving forward, just that little bit of grief that I've never really dealt with, because it would traumatize me, like, oh my gosh, my horse, and it was at a big competition, and people are yelling, stop that horse, and she still kept going, and I didn't even know she was lame, and and then I jumped off her and she fell on me, and we were both laid on the ground, and and so it's those little griefs that sit in us around that, with our animals, and even losing our animals. So yeah, so it was interesting that you brought up animals, even though we do have our own little circus here, but that was quite a big thing for me, and something that I feel it in my body, that it's something that little grief, that's actually a big grief that's sitting in me, that needs a place, because it was traumatizing.
What does turned out mean?
Turned out, so they retire.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sorry, so they don't get put down or anything like that. She just and she ended up getting put into foal, but we gave her back. We gave her back to her old owners. We owned her, but so I had to, but luckily I had such supportive parents, because it was, we need to put this horse down. And it's like, no. Yeah, so it's those little griefs in there that that can have such an impact on us in our everyday life. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it, don't we? Feel it.
So yeah.
But the animals don't really have other than Buddy, who loves to come out into a space when we're working. They don't really play a big part in the work. But I think they, from my perspective anyway, that I see the animals as almost teaching people how to love unconditionally.
Yeah.
The love that they can give and feel from an animal without any complications, is for a lot of people that might make all the difference in their world. Yeah, so animals, they're amazing. They play all sorts of roles in our lives.
That's a good point. That's a really good point you make, John, because sometimes when we're working and we're inviting people to, maybe in a meditation part of it, we might be inviting them to feel unconditional love, and they might not have ever had that in their human experience with other humans, but I invite people to sometimes say, maybe there's a baby when you had your babies, or there's an animal that you have this love with, and you can just see people relax. That's what they teach us, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I personally, for me, animals played a big part of my life. That was my my safe place, was to always, and as a little girl, I tried everything, dancing to, oh my gosh, everything, Highland dancing. And back in those days, it was, mum was always, you need to be doing something, and I just didn't like anything. And then she said to me, would you like a horse? And I'm like, okay, if you want me to. And my life changed. I actually had something that I could unconditionally love, and it loved me back. It was and my whole life was around my horse. Yeah, it was beautiful. And as a child, I never, bless my mum and dad, they were incredible. But I had a brother that was really unwell, so their focus was on that. But I got to be with my horse every day. Yeah, animals are amazing.
They are. Well, if someone wants to get hold of you, I know we're going to put your contact information in the thread below, but I always invite people to share, because some people are audible and they like to hear things rather than see it written down. How would someone get in touch with you?
Well, we've got a website, www.familybalancenz.com, but we're also on social media, all under Family Balance NZ. And I mean, on our website, there's a phone number you can ring, text. Yeah.
Beautiful. And you guys are part of ANZCI as well, which is the Aotearoa New Zealand Constellation Association. So they can always find you on that website.
Oh, totally. I was going to talk about that when John talked about, you know, the day and night retreats, like ANZCI. I mean, the intensive that, you know,
The
that
6 days.
the 6 days, it's just
Next
we
level.
get to hang out and you get, you know, it's incredible. And even I think when we were in Taupo the other day, at the girls' workshop, and we all just wanted to stay for a sleepover. You know, it's just kind of, and it's just, yeah, so just saying, if you want to come and experience this work, our retreats, if you just want to do one night, but ANZCI for 6
Yeah,
days.
and you'll both be presenting at that as well
Yeah,
in April 2026.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Rotorua.
In Rotorua. Yes,
Mm.
we had our first one in Taupo and then last one Rotorua, and we'll be back there again. It's way bigger than I could ever have imagined that ANZCI has become.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
I remember when I was mentioning it to you, Jo, and Fiona and Rochelle, saying, this is what, I want to do an intensive, I want to have a conference here, and never realised the doors that I'd be opening with that conversation. So really grateful that both you and John have been on board and supporting us and being part of the journey as we move forward.
Yeah, amazing. And how lucky are we to be held by this beautiful land of Aotearoa and the culture? Like, it's such an honour. Hey, yeah, it's incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming along.
Thank you,
And,
Tracy.
Thank you.
It's been lovely to chat.
Yeah, it took a little while to get you here. We had a few things that stopped this from happening, but really glad it's lined up now, and it's a perfect time. Trust the field. Trust the field.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you, guys.
So,
Thank you for listening. Head over to Instagram and tell me what's resonated for you with this episode. You'll find me at tracy.cartwright. That's Tracy with no E. .cartwright, or head over to my website, tracycartwright.co.nz, and receive a free audio with the gift from your ancestors. So until next time, be kind to yourself and have fun doing it.